So, the bulk of the horizontal stabiliser now being completed, I still need to add a block in there which takes the fin down for locating the fin, and this needs to be sheeted right up to these ribs here and curved in to give a nice shape to it. But I want to push on and consider how I'm going to tackle the elevator. And there is an issue that's come to light, and that is that the rear part of the ribs, which I needed to cut off, if they're served up to the trailing edge, which is 1/8 thick, it doesn't match the measurement here, the point at which the intersection would occur between the rib and the trailing edge. And that would mean that I would need to sand down part of each rib. And I don't want to do that. There are a couple of ways that I could attach the trailing edge to the ribs. One of them is to actually cut them butt up in length, cut them short, and then put a gusset in each rib to add a great deal of strength actually, but I don't think that looks aesthetically very pleasing, and I want to actually probably cover this model in, if not a transparent, an opaque covering, and I think that would just look rather ugly. The second option is to actually take the ribs and notch, as it's shown on the plan, to notch the trailing edge and insert the ribs like that. But we still have the issue that this point here, where the rib would come in contact with the trailing edge, would be higher than the 1/8 that this is made out of. So the solution I'm going to go for is one that I used, or was used, in the design of the Junkmeister build, and that is to slot each rib and then feed that onto the trailing edge like so, and I think that produces a very neat solution, and when it's covered it looks very effective. It will mean that when I'm actually gluing this up, I'll need to pack the trailing edge with some scrap balsa. That's not a big deal, but I think it'll look much neater than cutting these short and then having to file them off or sand them off, which I don't want to do. So that's the way I'm going to go about it. So the next task will be to remove the tabs, which I've left on so that I don't get them mixed up, and to slot each rib. Let's move on. So the preparation work's been done now. Each of the ribs has been trimmed to length, and the notch has been cut out at the back to allow it to slide onto the trailing edge. This has been glued together, the trailing edge, so the end piece and the piece coming into the fin have been glued down, and then it's been packed to allow me to slide these ribs into position. And there's a small piece of packing, in fact it's the piece that I cut off the end, that's going to support the rear part. So all that I need to do now is to glue these into position. I'll be using super glue to do that, and then the final thing will be to add the leading edge of the elevator all ready for sanding down. So here we go. I'm going to leave that one because it's not as good a fit. Start with these. I'll put a little bit of glue along the rear and then wick some in on the top part. So just line them up carefully. There we go, and put some glue on the upper surface. There you go. Lined up. Glue on. I think this one I'll actually just wick it in, because I'm frightened it's taken so quickly that I'll struggle to get them lined up properly. So happy with that. Both sides, and then when I lift it off the board I'll glue the other side. Same for this one. It's going together nicely. And this one, and then I have to go back to the tail number 2. And then back to this one. Yeah. And there we go. Pleased with that. So final thing to do is to glue this on to the front. And I'll do that by simply holding it like this, wicking some into position, that's going together rather nicely. Move this one. You can see the strength of the super glue allows you to line it up all very accurately, and then you don't have to worry about everything moving around. I know there are advantages in using white glue, however the advantages of the CA outweigh its problems, and I will probably touch up all the joints with some white glue when this is all set. Here we go, that's it, done. All I need to do is to lift it off and glue the other side. Yeah, very successful. There we go.